night for the night.
Welcome everyone. My name is Sonja Salsa and I'm the founder of Caribbean Innovation Ventures. Today it's my privilege to speak with Mr. Marlon Nichols, founding partner at Cross Culture Ventures and an investment director at Intel Capital. Welcome Marlon. Thanks so much for being here. So where are you from?
I was born in Jamaica, St. Andrew's Hospital in Kingston.
You heard it, from the Caribbean. So you started a VC firm by the name of Cross Culture Ventures. What's Cross Culture Ventures? Tell us more about that.
It's an early stage venture capital firm focused on something we call cultural investing, which is trying to figure out what the next cultural waves are going to be. And our belief is that if you find those waves and companies that are building solutions to ride them, then you'll end up finding tomorrow's next big brands. And in particular, we're looking at trends within diverse cultures and needs of diverse cultures.
Awesome. So what is your background? How did you get here? I mean, a VC, you're from the Caribbean. I mean, you're unique. So what's your educational background? How did you get here? Share your story.
Yeah, so after leaving Jamaica at a young age, basically grew up mostly in New York, Mount Vernon, New York. But I would spend every summer in Portmore with my grandmother until I was about 15. And then I got into sports, and then my summers were at sports camps. So undergraduate was at Northeastern University, where I studied management information systems. And after Northeastern, I found a job at an enterprise software company called Frictionless Commerce. And at Frictionless, I led global integration or implementation projects and strategy projects for companies like Goldman Sachs, United Utilities, Network Rail, etc. And got the opportunity to go with one of the founders of the company, moved to London, UK, and relaunched the company there, which was a phenomenal experience because for 3 years I basically did everything, every role that you can think of within that company. And then we got an exit opportunity. The company was purchased by SAP, at which point I went back to the US, to New York specifically, and started a career in consulting. First doing technology selection, and then strategy consulting for media companies like Warner Music Group. But later on, I went back to business school, so I got my MBA from Cornell University.
Yes.
Yeah, Cornell. Yes, go Big Red. And while I was there, I had the opportunity to lead the school's venture fund, which was a great introduction to venture capital, and set me up for my tenure with Intel Capital, where I led a number of investments at various stages, from seed to, I think the latest stage deal I did was a Series F deal in an enterprise software company.
Wow.
And across sectors too, so some consumer products companies, some enterprise software companies, and some companies in the new experiences space. So it's a good training ground to help me to get to a point where I could get with my two partners, Trevor Thomas and Troy Carter, and start our fund, Cross Culture.
Wow, well, congratulations. I'm very proud of you and to hear all of the things that you're doing. Tell us about some of your companies in your portfolio. Why are you in love with them? Why the investment and why now?
Yeah, so at this point, we've invested in 5 companies. And interestingly enough, 4 of the 5 founders are from Afro descent. So our first investment was in a company called Maven. Maven's a mobile platform that allows hairstylists to sell hair extensions, as opposed to just getting the services revenue of installing them. And so this was an important investment because it creates a brand new revenue stream for these hairstylists, and in some cases they're making so much money from selling the hair that they just stop doing hair.
Wow.
And it changes the trajectory of their family, right? Their financial situation is brand new. But even more important than that, or maybe equally as important, is Maven presents a channel for big beauty brands to target a demographic, we call it the unbanked, that they haven't been able to reach in the past. So we think Maven will become an important platform in the beauty industry. So that's one. I can go into all of them, but
well, here is big business. I can tell you that.
So another company in the portfolio is M-Survey. It's a mobile survey platform. The company is founded by a fellow Caribbean, Kenfield Griffin, who spends a lot of his time in Kenya and some of it in the U.S. But what's interesting about this platform is that it's changing the way that surveys are delivered. They're using text messaging, which is becoming kind of the de facto mode of communication. Almost feels more natural to text message than it does to excuse me, than it does to speak. Right? And so they're leveraging that, plus they're working with telecommunications companies in emerging countries, emerging parts of the world, to gain access to a large number of respondents. And so, you know, if you are a Harvard Medical or some other company and you're thinking about entry into some part of Africa or some part of the Caribbean, you can now easily send a series of quick surveys to upwards of 300,000 people like that and get the sentiment and analysis and things like that that you need to make your decisions.
Wow, that's great. Wonderful to hear about that. So my question for you, I know it's really hard for startups to raise capital. Today in an event we heard about bootstrapping. How best can a Caribbean startup prepare themselves for investment capital from angel investors or VCs? What is your advice to those entrepreneurs?
I don't think it's any different than an entrepreneur, you know, in the U.S. or the U.K. or Africa or wherever, right? What you want to make sure you're doing is you're targeting a really big market, right? So if you're, to the extent that your product can do well in the Caribbean and also do well in larger economies, then that's a plus. The way that venture works is that you put a certain amount of capital in, and then you need the company to perform at multiples higher than that in order to get a return on your investment. And that's why venture capital, you know, that's why we're in it, to get that return on the investment. So the market has to be huge. The other thing I'd say is get as much traction in your business as you possibly can, right? So we're always looking for points of proof that consumers or other businesses or whoever your customer is interested in this and will spend money on this.
Got it. So my question to you, what do you see for the future of technology and entrepreneurship? What do you see? What's the next big wave? If you could give us, share that if you have a vision.
You know, so our thesis at Cross Culture is that pop culture drives brands, and brands define the experiences that we have every day, essentially our lives. We also know for a fact that diverse cultures have an outsized influence on pop culture.
Okay.
So I think, and add to that, you know, the demographic is changing, right? So pretty soon, minorities will become the majority, at least in the U.S., right? So given that, I think there are going to be a lot of businesses created that are going to target problems or challenges that are more prevalent in diverse communities than they are in the current majority communities.
Awesome. So I know you have a lot going on. How do you stay motivated and balanced and those kinds of things? Do you have a mentor?
I have several mentors.
Okay.
I've had mentors at different for different stages of my life, and still have them today. So my key mentors today are all in the venture capital space. So Frida Kapoor-Klein Kapoor Capital is a mentor and was instrumental in helping us to form Cross Culture. Phil Wickham, the CEO of the Kaufman Fellows Program, has been a mentor to me since I basically started doing venture capital. While I was at Intel, Lisa Lambert was a tremendous mentor for me. Jason Green at Emergence Capital, There are a number of folks that I talked to about different things. Mark Jones, who's the CEO and founder of an IoT company, and also the chairman of an organization called MLT, Management Leadership for Tomorrow.
Right.
I lean on him for a lot of different things. So I think it's super important to have folks that have been there before you and can coach you through or coach you around kind of the missteps that they've made, so you don't make them yourself.
Awesome. Yes, it's very important to have those key individuals in your life.
Yeah. Oh, my parents, obviously.
Yes, of course. Very important for first mentors. So my final question to you is, what's your favorite Caribbean dish?
I have two. So oxtail is one,
Okay.
and goat head soup.
Goat head soup?
Yes.
I've never heard of that. Okay, well, maybe have to try that.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for speaking with us. We greatly appreciate you sharing your words of wisdom. Thank you again. To my Caribbean audience, I want to remind you to reach for the sky, because if you fall, you're going to fall on coconut trees. But if you reach for coconut trees, you're going to fall on the ground. Thanks.
Oh, what a night. What a night, what a night. Oh gosh, what a night. I feel good.